Hey you guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. And we have to have a discussion about this. We've talked about this a lot on this channel. Whenever we look at the antiques and collectibles trade, especially in present day, you need to look at it with a very critical eye, because in the year 2022, it seems there's a lot of grading companies, there's a lot of auction companies, there's a lot of individuals out there that are operating in these markets, and if they want to make something a thing, they pretty much can if they have enough money, if they have enough clout, if they have enough marketing and hype behind them. You can pretty much make anything a collectible in this day and age. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stay a collectible. That doesn't mean it's going to become a prominent collecting category in the overall trade, but you can make a lot of money in the process. And right now, there's a lot of grading companies that are expanding exponentially. If we look at CGC, CGC is getting into grading video games and also VHS movies, which is what we're going to be talking about today. There are also other companies in the fold that are taking advantage of this market. For instance, I don't know how familiar you are with graded VHS tapes, but there are two companies already that grade VHS tapes. The first is Investment Grading Services, which is a very new upstart that I'm not too sure of. I don't have enough experience dealing with as of yet. But the other company you've all heard of, and that's VGA. Believe it or not, Video Game Authority is already grading factory sealed VHS tapes. And on June 9th, 2022, Heritage Auctions had a VHS and home entertainment signature auction, and the results did not surprise, though I'm sure they did stun some individuals in this market. Now, for the record, I am not really a fan of this market, but the one thing that I will say is I understand that factory sealed VHS movies, for the most part, are quite scarce and most likely potentially rare, because I can see people, even back in the 80s and 90s, I know of people, including myself, that still kept factory sealed video games, even back then, before they were a thing. I get that. I don't know too many people, though. When I was learning the antiques and collectibles trade, when I was also learning about up-and-coming collectibles, what we used to call desirables back in the day, that are probably now what we call beginning collectibles, like video games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon cards, and the like, I don't know too many people that were saving factory sealed VHS movies, beta movies that were factory sealed. I do know some individuals that did at the time. I remember this, at least in Pennsylvania. There were people that went in, and if like a VHS movie rental shop, mom and pop shop was going under, they would go in and they would buy out the inventory. I have no idea what happened to that inventory. I have no idea what their plans were, but I can tell you, I do know of several instances when Blockbuster became a thing, a powerhouse on the scene. There were a lot of mom and pop movie shops that pretty much closed up. They couldn't compete. And there were a lot of people going in, making them offers on their inventory. Now, I don't know how much of that was factory sealed. I don't have any numbers in that regard. This is not like I have any insider information where I talk about sometimes in other videos. Like I told you in the Marvel trading card video that I know several individuals that pretty much have cases of that stuff sitting. I don't know if they still do, but at that particular time, they would come to me and they would show me pictures of their inventory. I have no reports of how many factory sealed VHS movies are out there, because nobody's really coming to me with that information, because I think, honestly, nobody really thought this would be a thing. So this is just one of those markets that hype and marketing really benefited the grading company and also the auction house. Now, to be fair, I do want to state this. When we compare this market to that of graded video games, I do have to say one thing. It doesn't appear that this market was directly, allegedly manipulated by a grading company per se. So I just want to make that clear. There are no movies as of yet, to my knowledge, that are selling over six figures, though I think we are going to get to that point sometime in the future. I am going to go over some highlights in this latest Heritage auction. And also know, it's just not Heritage Auctions that is featuring these particular items. I believe Golden Auctions is also featuring these items, and there's a couple of other auction houses, more specifically online auction houses, that are starting to cater to this market. So lo and behold, whether you like it or not, this is going to become a thing. Again, this market's not for me. I'm just reporting on it. because it is quite fascinating to see how this is becoming a thing. So we're going to get right into it. The first movie we're going to talk about is a 1986 Back to the Future in VGA 80 plus near mint condition, factory sealed and graded. Now, what makes this movie special is, I don't know if you guys know who Tom Wilson is. Tom Wilson is the actor that played Biff in the Back to the Future movies. Well, this particular item is a pedigree of sorts because it belonged to his personal collection. So the person that bidded on this item did get a handwritten note from Tom Wilson. Now, of course, if you want to give me $75,000 for a factory sealed VHS movie from the 1980s, I would also be willing to give you a handwritten note. I can't guarantee it's going to fetch $75,000 on the open market, but make no mistake, if you do want to give me 75 grand, I'll make sure I give you a factory sealed movie that's graded along with a note. I'm not going to say what the note's going to say, but I'll gladly give you that if you want to give me 75 grand. Now, in all fairness, in all honesty, kidding aside, I get that somebody who is a huge Back to the Future fan may want to own this, but I really don't think it's worth $75,000. And that was pretty much one of the highlights from this particular auction. But wait, there's more. And some of these really get even more insane, just not as high priced. So you guys remember the movie The Goonies, right? If you don't know this, I am a huge Goonies fan. I actually have the original movie poster somewhere in this house hung up. I think it's in my dining room upstairs on the wall. I do have a framed Goonies poster from 1986. This particular auction is for a Goonies factory sealed VHS tape in VGA 85 near mint plus, and it went for $50,000. Let me say that again. It went for $50,000. Now, this does not come with a signed note. This is just the movie. It's not a pedigree collection. This is just the graded particular movie in VGA 85 near mint plus, and it sold for $50,000. Now, I consider that to be extremely ridiculous. But again, I do understand the scarcity and rarity of these items, and I'm hoping I'm proved wrong. Maybe there is a warehouse of this stuff that's just sitting out there, because I'm going to state this. When it comes to comparing this particular type of media to that of video games, I can see video games being in a greater supply, I've already said this, than that of movies. And it does get worse, guys. A copy of Jaws. You guys all know the movie Jaws, right? 1983. Jaws, graded by IGS, not VGA, IGS in 8.5, which is mint according to their grading standards, and factory sealed. This sold for $32,500. So you can see where we're going here in this market. And there's more I'm going to go over with you guys. But you got to understand that it looks like any popular movie from the 1980s that is factory sealed and has any type of nostalgic factor is obviously going to sell for a premium now. This is where we're going in this market in 2022. So if you're somebody, if you're a kook out there, and I say kook because obviously most people weren't doing this, but if you were going to the market, finding these particular pieces factory sealed and putting them on a shelf, you're now sitting on a gold mine. And in all honesty, all you have to do is send them to get graded, consign them to auction, and most likely this trend is going to continue. It's just like we were talking about graded video games many years ago. We see what that became. Now, obviously, there was a lot of market manipulation in that particular segment. But when we look at VHS movies, you need to understand that this is going to attract more people to buy these objects because now they're seeing, oh my gosh, that Goonies movie from 1986, factory sealed, just went for $50,000. Well, obviously, that means Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Predator, whatever movie we're talking about, if it's factory sealed, it's in near mint and can be graded, it's going to sell for a premium at present time. So let's talk about Ghostbusters, because I just brought it up. A copy of Ghostbusters from 1985, graded by VGA in 85 plus, sold for $23,750, guys. Let me say that again. $23,750 for a copy of Ghostbusters, VGA 85, near mint plus, factory sealed and graded. And the next movie I want to bring up, now to be fair, this is one of my favorite movies from the 1980s because It's the lesser popular Rambo movie. If you guys recall, before we had Rambo, which is really First Blood Part 2, we had First Blood, which stars Sylvester Stallone. Well, guess what? A copy of First Blood for the VHS, graded by IGS in 10 condition with a seal of 9. They do sometimes do subgrades where they rate the seal. This particular piece sold for $22,500. Now, to be fair, I pretty much can guarantee that there's probably most likely not a lot of factory sealed copies of First Blood out there. I would imagine that there's more factory sealed copies of Rambo, meaning the sequel, where he really rose to dominance. First Blood was not that popular of a movie unless when Rambo came out, you either remembered the first part or you were like, you know what? This Rambo movie was spectacular. And it says First Blood 2. I'm going to go see First Blood 1 now that I saw the sequel. The sequel is really where that movie series got off to a high note. Now, the third one sucked. Spoiler alert. The fourth one was pretty good. But the third one sucked. But the first movie in that series is definitely worth watching if you've never seen it. It really is a great movie. Now, there's more. We have Star Wars. Everybody loves Star Wars, right? To be fair, Star Wars is a pop culture icon. Well, a copy of A New Hope, Star Wars, VHS 1984, VGA 85, Near Mint Plus, sold for $22,500. And this one does have the price sticker from Tower Records, or I should say Tower Media, whatever it was called back then. I still think it was called Tower Records, where it sold for $39.95 originally. So somebody actually bought this from the store and kept it factory sealed, and it got graded, it got sold, and in 2022, it sold for $22,500. Now, the next one we're going to talk about, and we're only going to do a couple of more, there is a Top Gun Diet Pepsi promo, factory sealed VHS movie, graded by IGS with a box rating of 8 near mint and a seal rating of 8 near mint. And this sold for $17,500. Now, to be fair, they made a wise decision selling this right now because obviously the sequel to Top Gun is in everyone's minds and hearts and consciousness because it just got released in the theaters. So that was a very good decision, in my opinion, on this individual for putting it in this sale so close to the release of the Top Gun sequel. So I will say that. So that's pretty much where we are. Those are the main highlights. I can go a little bit further if you guys want. Back to the Future 2. VHS 1990. We're not even in the 1980s anymore, guys. 1990, VGA 90 plus, sold for $16,250. And again, this appears to be from Tom Wilson, the person who played Biff, his personal collection. So it didn't go for anywhere near the amount his original movie went for, Back to the Future 1. But Back to the Future 2 still got $16,250. There also is a copy of the Goonies for Betamax. You guys are aware of Betamax, the competition between VHS and Betamax. This one came out in 1986. This is VGA 85 Near Mint Plus. This didn't go for $50,000, but it went for $13,750. So those of you out there that do have some factory sealed Betamax movies, all two of you that are probably watching this video right now, if you get them graded, if they are classic movies, you have some potential money on your hands. So just let this be a lesson to you guys as to the fact that whether you like this or not, this market is becoming a thing. A lot of people ask me, Sean, how did this become a thing? Again, I already covered that because the auction companies and grading companies want it to be a thing. And make no mistake, they're not going to stop here. It's going to be very easy to make DVDs a thing. It's going to be very easy to make cassette tapes a thing. Hell, they could even, I don't see this happening, but if they wanted to, 8-tracks could become a thing at this particular point. It would appear that a lot of the people are seeing these prices and they are getting on board. So I literally anticipate this market growing. You can take that for what it's worth. If you are somebody that's watching this, maybe you do have a cache of these movies sitting around that are factory sealed. I'm here to tell you, now's a good time to get them graded. Now's a good time to cash out. Because remember, at present time, guys, there are no population reports for any of this stuff to my knowledge. So literally, we don't really know how much of this stuff is out there. And I think if more and more are found, if I'm proven wrong, and a lot of people did hoard this stuff, it's going to tank the market as time goes on. I just don't see that happening because I don't know too many people. I mean, I've been in the antiques and collectibles trade since the age of 12. I was learning about this stuff when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And I remember there were people that were speculating on stuff that they thought might be worth money in the next 10, 20, 30 years. There were people doing that crazy stuff back then. And I don't remember too many people hoarding factory sealed VHS movies. So if this is something you're into, if this is something you got into, now may be a good time to cash out. But make no mistake, guys, we can't stop the train now that it's left the station. This is officially a thing. So thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. If you want me to do more videos on this, please let me know in the comment section below. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this particular market, but I will do more videos as the market develops. So you will see me possibly come back to this and just touch on it just to see where we're at, because I do, again, think it is going to be a thing. But that being said, it's not something that I have a passion towards. I kind of see through the hype and I realize, you know, me, myself, I'd rather have the vintage movie poster hanging on the wall. I don't need a factory sealed copy of a movie that if I would open and try to play, it most likely probably wouldn't even play in the year 2022. So let's be realistic here. So with that being said, have a great night. Thank you for your time.